Dr. Lisa Murphy was drinking her third cup of coffee when the radio telescope started going crazy. The big dish at Arecibo was picking up signals like nothing she had ever seen before. The computer screens filled with data that made her hands shake as she reached for the phone. "This is Dr. Murphy at Arecibo. I need to speak with Director Clark right now," she said into the phone. Her voice was steady, but her heart was beating fast. After 20 years of listening to space, she finally found something listening back. Signals were coming from outside the solar system. They were strong, organized, and getting closer every hour. Lisa knew what this meant. Someone was coming to Earth, and they had technology that made human spaceships look like paper boats. Within 4 hours, every major government on Earth knew about the signals. President Jake Harrison sat in the White House Situation Room with his top advisors. General Paul Mitchell spread star charts across the big table while Admiral Kate Sullivan studied the alien signals on her tablet. "How long do we have?" President Harrison asked. "Based on their speed, maybe 3 days," said Director Clark from NASA. He looked tired. "Mr. President, these ships are massive. Our satellites show at least 50 vessels, each one bigger than an aircraft carrier." General Mitchell pointed to the charts. "They're not trying to hide. They want us to see them coming." Admiral Sullivan looked up from her tablet. "Sir, the signal pattern suggests this is a military fleet. They're broadcasting on frequencies we use for surrender demands." President Harrison felt a cold weight in his stomach. He had hoped humanity's first contact with aliens would be peaceful. Instead, it looked like Earth was about to be invaded. 3 days later, the alien fleet arrived. The ships appeared in Earth's orbit like dark mountains hanging in space. Each vessel was black metal and sharp angles, built for war instead of exploration. The largest ship was 5 miles long and covered in weapons that human scientists could not understand. The aliens began broadcasting immediately. The message came in perfect English, which scared the humans more than the giant warships. "People of Earth," the voice said. It sounded cold and mechanical. "I am Commander Zaleth of the Zephyrian Empire. Your planet has been selected for integration into our empire. You have 72 hours to surrender your military forces and submit to Zephyrian rule." The message continued. "Do not resist. We have conquered 400 worlds before yours. Your weapons cannot harm our ships. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. Surrender now, and your people will be allowed to live as servants of the Empire." Commander Zaleth's image appeared on every television and computer screen on Earth. He looked like a tall human, but with gray skin and black eyes that seemed to look right through the camera. His uniform was covered in medals from Concord. "Worlds, you have seen our fleet," he said. "We have enough firepower to turn your planet into dust. But the Empire prefers to keep useful worlds intact. Serve us willingly, and your cities will remain standing. Resist, and we will demonstrate why 400 worlds chose surrender over destruction." President Harrison watched the broadcast with his emergency council. The room was quiet, except for the sound of paper shuffling and people breathing too. "Fast, what do we know about them?" The president asked. Dr. Tony Martinez, head of a classified defense program, spoke up. "Mr. President, we've been tracking their signals for the past week. They use standard military protocols. They expect us to surrender because everyone else did. Can we fight them?" Admiral Sullivan asked. General Mitchell smiled for the first time in days. "Ma'am, we've been preparing for this possibility for 30 years. Operation Sleeping Giant has been ready since the 1990s. President Harrison looked surprised. "Sleeping Giant?" "A defense program hidden in black budgets," Dr. Martinez explained. "Every major nation contributed. We have weapons the aliens don't know about because we've never used them." "What kind of weapons?" the president asked. Colonel Dan Wright, who had been quiet until now, opened a classified folder. Kinetic bombardment platforms disguised as space junk. Rail guns built into mountains. Antimatter charges hidden in asteroids. Gravity manipulation devices that can crush a battleship. Admiral Sullivan leaned forward. "You're saying we can actually fight these things?" "More than fight them," General Mitchell said. "We can win. But we have to let them think we're helpless first." The aliens had made their first mistake. They assumed humanity was like the other species they had conquered. They expected fear and quick surrender. Instead, they had given Earth 3 days to prepare got in secret military bases around the world. Soldiers began activating weapon systems that had been hidden for decades. Satellites that looked like broken space junk suddenly came online. Underground. Bunkers opened to reveal cannons that could fire projectiles at nearly the speed of light. Dr. Sarah Kim worked frantically in a laboratory deep under Colorado. Her team was putting the finishing touches on humanity's most secret weapon. The gravity manipulation device could make any object collapse into itself, creating a tiny black hole that would destroy anything nearby. "How many shots do we have?" she asked her assistant. "Enough to take out their entire fleet," came the reply. On the third day, Commander Zalith appeared on Earth's screens again. "Your time is ending, humans. We detect no preparation for surrender. We will now demonstrate our power." The largest alien ship turned its weapons toward Earth. Energy began building in massive cannons that could level entire continents. But Admiral Kextar, the alien fleet commander, noticed something strange on his sensors. "Commander Zalith, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the planet's surface." "Impossible," Zalith replied. "Our scans showed only primitive technology." What the aliens didn't know was that Earth's defenders had been using every minute of those 3 days. Hidden weapons were now active all around the planet. Stealth ships waited in the shadows behind the moon. Soldiers in secret bases had their fingers on triggers that would unleash 30 years of preparation. President Harrison stood in the war room with his advisors. General Amy Foster, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, looked at her watch. "Mr. President, all units report ready. The sleeping giant is awake." Harrison picked up the red phone that connected him to every military commander on Earth and in space. His voice was calm but firm. "All units, this is the President. They came to our home. They threatened our families. They think we're weak." He paused. "Show them what happens when you wake up humanity. All units, weapons free." The aliens were about to learn why Earth had never been conquered before. The alien fleet hung in space like black storm clouds over Earth. Commander Zalith grew impatient as the 72-hour deadline approached. He had conquered planets before, and they all followed the same pattern. First came fear, then desperate. Attempts to negotiate, then surrender. But Earth was different. The humans had gone completely quiet. "Commander," said Captain Rex Dye from the bridge of the war cruiser Dominator, "the humans aren't responding to our communications. Their military forces haven't moved. It's like they've given up." Zalith studied the readings from Earth. Human cities continued their normal activities. Cars moved on roads. Planes flew between airports. It was as if the entire planet was ignoring the massive alien fleet overhead. "Perhaps they don't understand the situation," Zalith said. "Show them what happens to worlds that don't surrender." Down on Earth, Dr. Lisa Murphy was no longer at her radio telescope. She was now in a bunker 300 feet under the Rocky Mountains. Around her, dozens of military officers worked at computer screens showing data from around the globe. Colonel Dan Wright stood beside a massive display showing the alien fleet positions. "All orbital platforms report ready," he said into his headset. "The enemy has no idea we're here." The hidden orbital platforms looked like broken satellites and space debris. For 30 years, they had drifted in Earth's orbit, waiting for this moment. Each platform contained kinetic bombardment weapons that could punch holes through the strongest armor. Dr. Sarah Kim checked her gravity manipulation device one last time. The machine was the size of a refrigerator, but it could create gravitational fields strong enough to crush an alien battleship. "Gravity weapon is online and ready," she reported. Admiral Kate Sullivan coordinated the defense from a secret command center inside the moon. Yes, the moon. Humans had been building military bases there since the 1980s, hidden from alien sensors by careful camouflage and signal dampening. "Stealth Fleet Alpha is in position behind the lunar far side," she reported. To Earth, Stealth Fleet Beta is hiding in the asteroid belt. "The enemy doesn't know we have ships up here." The human stealth ships were painted black and designed to absorb radar instead of reflecting it. They had been waiting in space for decades, ready for an invasion that many people thought would never come. General Steve Parker watched the alien fleet from his command post. Enemy vessels are maintaining standard occupation formation. They think they're safe. That was the aliens' second mistake. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered so many helpless worlds that they had become overconfident. Their ships were positioned for intimidation, not for battle. Captain Lisa Hayes commanded the USS Defiance, a human battleship that officially didn't exist. Her ship and 50 others had been built in secret factories and hidden in deep space. They used technology that was decades ahead of anything the public knew about. "All weapons are charged and ready," she reported. "Kinetic rounds are loaded. We have enough firepower to level a continent." The kinetic rounds were simple but deadly. They were tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds. No energy shields in the galaxy could stop a piece of metal moving. At nearly the speed of light. Captain Amy Brooks operated from the lunar weapons platform that Dr. Martinez had designed. The platform contained humanity's most advanced weapon, a device that could create artificial black holes. One shot could destroy a ship 5 miles long. "Black hole generator is ready," she reported. "We have a clear shot at their flagship." But the aliens weren't completely blind. Admiral Kekstar noticed unusual readings on his sensors. "Commander Zalith, I'm detecting strange energy patterns around this planet. Much more than a primitive world should have." Zalith looked at the data. "Probably their power grids. Don't worry about it. Fire a warning shot at one of their space stations. That will motivate them to surrender." This was the aliens' third and final mistake. The alien flagship turned its massive weapons toward the International Space Station. The space station was home to 6 astronauts, including Commander Alex Turner and Dr. Nina Rodriguez. They were conducting research on new materials when the alien cannon fired. The energy blast vaporized the space station in seconds. "Commander, Turner's last transmission was heard around the world. Tell Earth we tried to represent humanity well." Every television on Earth showed the destruction. The space station, which had been a symbol of human cooperation and exploration, was gone. 6 people had died just to prove the aliens were serious. President Jake Harrison watched the footage with tears in his eyes. Those astronauts had been heroes, and the aliens had murdered them to make a point. "That's enough," Harrison said quietly. Then he spoke louder. "That's enough. General Foster, give the order." General Amy Foster picked up the communication device that connected her to every human military unit on Earth and in space. Her voice was cold with controlled anger. "All units, this is General Foster. The enemy has fired on our people. They have killed our astronauts. They think we'll surrender now." She paused. "They're wrong. All units, execute Operation Sleeping Giant. Show them what happens when you attack Earth." Around the planet, weapon systems that had been hidden for 30 years suddenly came online. In the mountains of Colorado, massive railguns emerged from what looked like ordinary hillsides. In orbit, broken satellites suddenly revealed themselves to be weapons platforms. The alien sensors went crazy. Admiral Kekstar stared at his displays. In shock. "Commander, I'm reading energy signatures everywhere. Where did these weapons come from?" Zalif looked at the sensor readings and felt fear for the first time in his military career. There were weapons pointing at his fleet from every direction. Somehow, the humans had built a defense network that his scouts had completely missed. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Our intelligence said this was a primitive world." "Captain." Rexdai checked his own sensors. "Sir, I'm counting over 200 weapons platforms, and there are ships behind the moon." Large ships. The humans had turned the entire solar system into a trap, and the alien fleet was caught in the middle. "Admiral." Sullivan gave the order from her lunar command center. "All units, fire at will. Target their engines first. We want some of them alive to tell their empire what happened here." Captain Hayes on the USS Defiance fired the first shot. A tungsten rod accelerated by magnetic rails crossed the distance to the alien fleet in seconds. It punched through the shields of a Zephyrian destroyer like the shields weren't even there. The alien ship exploded, and 14 minutes of fury began. Dr. Kim activated her gravity weapon. The gravity field reached out and grabbed an alien cruiser, crushing it into a ball of metal the size of a basketball. All around Earth, hidden weapons opened fire. The aliens had expected to fight primitive missiles and chemical rockets. Instead, they faced kinetic weapons, gravity manipulators, and energy cannons that could cut through their armor like paper. The Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that Earth wasn't defenseless. Humanity had just been sleeping, and now the sleeping giant was awake and very, very angry. The counterattack began at exactly 14:23 Greenwich Mean Time. Every clock on Earth would remember that moment as the minute humanity announced itself to the galaxy. Captain Lisa Hayes watched her targeting computer lock onto the alien destroyer. "Vanguard, fire," she commanded from the bridge of the USS Defiance. The tungsten rod left her ship's railgun at 90% the speed of light. The Zephyrian shields were designed to stop energy weapons like lasers and plasma cannons. They had never faced a simple piece of metal moving at near light speed. The tungsten rod passed through the alien shields, like they didn't exist, and punched a hole completely through the destroyer. "Direct hit," reported her weapons officer. "Enemy vessel is breaking apart." Admiral Kekstar stared at his tactical display in shock. One of his destroyers had just been destroyed by what his sensors said was a metal projectile. How did they accelerate metal to such speeds? He demanded before anyone could answer. The second wave of human attacks began. Admiral Kate Sullivan coordinated the orbital assault from her command center inside the moon. "Platform 7, you have a clear shot at the enemy flagship." Platform 12, target their cruiser formation. The orbital platforms that had pretended to be space junk for 30 years revealed their true purpose. Massive cannons emerged from disguised satellite shells. Each platform carried enough firepower to destroy a city. Dr. Tony Martinez watched the battle from his underground bunker. "Gravity Weapon 2 is charging," he announced. "Target the enemy battlecruiser Annihilator." The gravity manipulation device reached out across space and grabbed the alien ship with invisible hands. The gravitational field compressed the 2-mile-long vessel until it collapsed into a sphere the size of a car. The crew of 800 aliens died instantly. "Gravity. Weapon 2 successful," Dr. Martinez reported. "Battlecruiser Annihilator eliminated." Captain Jake Phillips led Squadron Alpha from his position behind the asteroid belt. His 12 stealth fighters had been waiting in the cold and dark for 2 days. Each fighter carried antimatter charges that could destroy a ship much larger than themselves. Squadron Alpha, Attack Pattern Delta, Phillips commanded. "Let's show these aliens how Earth fighter pilots operate." The human fighters accelerated toward the alien fleet at speeds that should have been impossible for such small ships. The aliens tried to target them, but the stealth coating made the fighters nearly invisible to sensors. Phillips lined up his shot on the alien heavy cruiser Devastation. Antimatter charge armed, Fox 3. The antimatter warhead streaked across space and struck the alien ship's reactor core. The explosion lit up space like a small star. When the light faded, the Devastation was gone, along with its crew of 1,500 aliens. "This is impossible," Commander Zaleth said from the bridge of his flagship. "How does a primitive world have such weapons?" His tactical officer looked terrified. "Sir, we've lost 12 ships in the first 5 minutes. Their weapons are more advanced than ours." On Earth's surface, General Lisa Carter activated the ground-based railgun network. The massive cannons had been built into mountains and disguised as communication towers. Each gun could fire a projectile completely out of Earth's atmosphere. "Mount Washington, you are clear to fire," Carter commanded. "Target the enemy carrier group." The railgun built into Mount Washington fired a tungsten rod the size of a telephone pole. The projectile left Earth's atmosphere, crossed 200 miles of space, and struck the alien carrier Dominion amidships. The carrier broke in half. Its fighter bays exploded, sending debris in all directions. Alien pilots who had been preparing to launch attack runs on Earth cities died before they could leave their ships. "Mount Washington reports direct hit," Carter announced. "Enemy carrier is destroyed." Dr. Sarah Kim prepared her most powerful gravity weapon. This one was different from the others. Instead of crushing ships, it created artificial black holes that consumed everything nearby. "Preparing black hole generator," she announced. "Target, enemy flagship Pride of Zephyr." Admiral Kekstar saw the readings on his sensors and felt pure terror. The humans were creating gravitational anomalies that defied physics. "All ships, emergency retreat. We cannot fight these weapons." But it was too late. Dr. Kim activated her device. A tiny black hole appeared next to the Pride of Zephyr. The flagship, which was 5 miles long and carried 10,000 alien soldiers, was pulled into the black hole and vanished completely. Admiral Kekstar and his entire command staff disappeared in an instant. "Enemy flagship eliminated," Dr. Kim reported calmly. Captain Amy Brooks commanded the human forces hiding in the outer system. Her ships had been disguised as asteroids for decades, waiting for this moment. "All ships converge on the enemy escape routes. Don't let any of them reach the jump point." The alien fleet tried to retreat, but found their escape blocked by more human ships. The vessels that had looked like space rocks suddenly revealed massive engines and weapon systems. "Surrender your vessels," Brooks transmitted to the remaining aliens. "You are surrounded and outgunned." Commander Zaleth found himself in command of the alien fleet after his admiral's death. Half his ships were destroyed or disabled. The humans had weapons that his Empire's scientists said were impossible. "Sir," his communications officer said with a shaking voice, "the humans are demanding our surrender." Zaleth looked at his tactical display. 60 alien ships had been reduced to 23 in 8 minutes. The humans weren't just winning. They were demonstrating complete military superiority. "How?" he whispered. "How does a single world have such power?" His science officer checked her readings. "Commander, their weapons use principles we don't understand. They're accelerating matter to near-light speeds using electromagnetic fields. They're manipulating gravity itself. They're creating artificial black holes." "That's impossible," Zaleth said. "Only the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy have gravity weapons." "Sir," the science officer said quietly, "I think we made a mistake. I don't think Earth is a primitive world. I think they've been hiding their true capabilities. The battle continued for 6 more minutes. Human weapons fired from every direction. Kinetic rounds, gravity weapons, antimatter charges, and energy beams struck the alien fleet with devastating precision. Captain Phillips led his fighters through the alien formation, destroying ship after ship with antimatter charges. Admiral Sullivan's orbital platforms fired continuously, turning alien vessels into scrap metal. Dr. Martinez's gravity weapons crushed alien ships like tin cans, Doc, by minute 14. The alien fleet was broken. Only 7 ships remained functional, and they were all damaged. The proud Zephyrian fleet that had conquered 400 worlds had been destroyed by a single planet in 14 minutes. Commander, Zaleth transmitted a message on all frequencies. Human forces, this is Commander Zaleth. We surrender. We request permission to retreat. President Harrison's voice came back immediately. Request denied. You came here to conquer Earth. You killed our astronauts. Now you'll face the consequences. The few remaining alien ships tried to escape, but human vessels surrounded them on all sides. There was no way out. Sir, Zaleth's tactical officer said, our jump drives are damaged. We can't escape the system. Zaleth realized the truth. The humans hadn't just defeated his fleet. They had destroyed the reputation of the Zephyrian Empire. Word of this defeat would spread across the galaxy, and every conquered world would know that the mighty empire could be beaten. But he still had one ship with a working communication array. He could send a warning to the Empire, tell them that Earth was not what it seemed. Send a message to the homeworld, he ordered. Tell them to avoid this system at all costs. Tell them the humans are not primitive. Tell them Earth is defended by weapons we don't understand. As his ship limped away from Earth, trailing atmosphere and debris, Zaleth sent his warning across the galaxy, but he was too late. Earth had already decided that defense wasn't enough. Humanity was going hunting. Commander Zaleth's ship, the last surviving vessel of the once mighty Zephyrian fleet, limped through space toward home. The ship's hull was cracked, life support was failing, and half the crew was dead. But Zaleth had one mission left. Warn the Empire about Earth. The communication array was damaged, but still working. Zaleth recorded his message with hands that shook from fear and shock. This is Commander Zaleth to High Command. The Earth invasion has failed. Repeat, the Earth invasion has failed completely. He paused, trying to find words for what he had witnessed. The humans are not primitive. They possess weapons that defy our understanding of physics. They destroyed our entire fleet in 14 minutes. Do not engage Earth. Do not send reinforcements. Stay away from that system. The message traveled across space at faster than light speed, carried by quantum transmitters that could reach any corner of the galaxy. It arrived at Zephyr Prime, the capital world of an empire that ruled 400 planets. 3 days later, Emperor Veltan sat on his crystal throne in the palace that overlooked the capital city. He had ruled the Zephyrian Empire for 3 centuries, and in all that time, no fleet had ever been completely destroyed. Planets surrendered when they saw Zephyrian ships. That was how the Empire worked. Impossible, the Emperor said when he heard Zaleth's message. A single world cannot destroy 60 warships. General Mortek, the Empire's supreme military commander, studied the battle recordings that had been transmitted from the few surviving ships. My Emperor, the evidence is clear. The humans have technology we've never encountered. The recordings showed human weapons that shouldn't exist. Kinetic projectiles moving at near-light speed. Gravity fields that could crush a battleship. Energy weapons that cut through advanced armor like it was paper. How is this possible? Emperor Veltan demanded. Our scouts reported a primitive civilization. Radio transmissions, chemical rockets, nuclear weapons. Nothing that could threaten our forces. "Sir," said Admiral Creedal, head of Imperial Intelligence, "I believe the humans were hiding their true capabilities. These weapon systems must have been built in secret over many years." The Emperor watched the recording of his flagship, the Pride of Zephyr, being consumed by an artificial black hole. 10,000 of his best soldiers had died in that instant. "What do we know about this species?" he asked. Admiral Creedal consulted her files. "The humans call themselves Homo sapiens. They evolved on a single world but have spread throughout. Their solar system. Our initial scans showed they were divided into separate nations that frequently fought each other. If they fight among themselves, how did they coordinate such a defense?" General Mortok asked. "Unknown, sir. But the battle recordings show perfect coordination between multiple weapons platforms, orbital stations, and hidden fleets. Either they unified against us, or they were never as divided as we thought." Emperor Veltan felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: uncertainty. The Zephyrian Empire had built its power on superior technology and overwhelming force. But Earth had shown technology that was superior to anything the Empire possessed. "What are options?" he asked his advisors. "We could send a larger fleet," General Mortok suggested. "Perhaps 500 ships instead of 60. Admiral Creedal shook her head. "Sir, if they destroyed 60 ships in 14 minutes, what makes you think 500 would fare better? They might just destroy a larger fleet in the same amount of time." "Then what do you suggest?" the Emperor demanded. "We stay away from Earth," she replied. "We pretend that system doesn't exist. We focus on expanding in other directions." But it was too late for that strategy. 3 months after the battle, long-range sensors detected ships leaving the Earth system. The humans weren't content to defend their home. They were coming after the Empire. On Earth, President Jake Harrison addressed the world from the United Nations building. The speech was written by his advisor, Dr. Kelly Johnson, but the determination in his voice was entirely his own. "My fellow humans," he began, "3 months ago, aliens came to our world demanding surrender. They thought we were weak because we seemed divided. They were wrong on both counts." The president paused, looking directly into the camera. "We have always been one species, one family. When threatened, we stand together, and we are not weak. We have been preparing for this day for decades. The aliens who attacked us ruled an empire of 400 worlds. They thought they could add Earth to their collection. Instead, they learned that humanity bows to no one." Dr. Tony Martinez worked frantically in his laboratory, reverse engineering alien technology from the wrecked ships. Human science teams had recovered enough alien equipment to understand how their faster-than-light drives worked. "We can build ships that travel faster than theirs," he reported to General Amy Foster. "And we can build them better. Human engineering, combined with alien principles, will give us a significant advantage." General Steve Parker coordinated the construction of humanity's first interstellar invasion fleet. The ships were built in secret facilities hidden throughout the solar system. Each vessel combined the best of human weapons technology with captured alien systems. "How many ships will we have?" Admiral Kate Sullivan asked. 200 combat vessels in the first wave," Parker replied. "Each one carries more firepower than the entire alien fleet that attacked us." Dr. Sarakim had been busy improving the gravity weapons that had proven so effective against the aliens. "The new black hole generators are portable," she announced. "We can mount them on fighters now." Captain Lisa Hayes trained human pilots to use the new ships. Many of them were military veterans, but some were civilians who had volunteered to take the fight to the aliens. "Remember," she told her pilots, "we're not just defending Earth anymore. We're showing the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with." Admiral Sullivan planned the human offensive from her command center on the moon. Intelligence gathered from captured alien databases showed the locations of major Zephyrian military bases and shipyards. "We'll hit them where they're strongest," she explained to the War Council. "Show them that nowhere in their empire is safe from human retaliation." 6 months after the battle for Earth, the first human ships crossed into Zephyrian space. Captain Mike Rodriguez commanded the lead vessel, a battleship armed with kinetic weapons and gravity manipulators. "This is Captain Rodriguez to all ships," he transmitted. "We are now in enemy territory. Remember what they did to our space station. Remember Commander Turner and Dr. Rodriguez. Make them pay." The human fleet moved through space like a pack of wolves, hunting the ships that had once terrorized 400 worlds. They carried a simple message for the Zephyrian Empire. Earth remembers, and Earth does not forgive. Emperor Valtan received reports of human ships attacking his outer colonies. The reports were terrifying. Human forces moved faster than Zephyrian ships, hit harder than Zephyrian weapons, and showed tactical flexibility that his rigid military doctrine couldn't counter. "How many ships are they sending?" he asked General Mordic. "Unknown, my emperor. But they're attacking on multiple fronts simultaneously. They seem to be everywhere at once." The emperor realized that his empire, built on the fear of superior force, was now facing an enemy that was truly superior. The humans hadn't just defended their world. They had declared war on the entire Zephyrian Empire, and from the early reports, they were winning. 6 months after the battle for Earth, the Zephyrian Empire faced something they had never experienced before, an enemy that hunted them across the galaxy. Human ships appeared in star systems that had been under alien control for centuries, bringing freedom to worlds that had forgotten what it meant to be free. Captain Mike Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the human battleship Liberty as it approached the Zephyrian colony of Nexus 7. The planet had been conquered 50 years ago, and its people had been forced to work in alien factories ever since. "All ships, this is Rodriguez," he transmitted to his fleet. "The aliens turned this world into a slave colony. Today, we give it back to its people." The human fleet had grown. Since leaving Earth, ships built in secret facilities throughout the solar system now numbered in the thousands. Each vessel was faster, stronger, and smarter than anything the Zephyrians could build. Colonel Sarah Brooks commanded the ground forces that would liberate Nexus 7. Her soldiers carried weapons that had been improved with captured alien technology. But more importantly, they carried the fighting spirit that had made Earth unconquerable. "Remember," she told her troops, "we're not here to conquer. We're here to free people who have been enslaved for decades. Show them what humanity stands." FOR. The Zephyrian garrison on Nexus 7 detected the approaching human fleet and immediately sent a distress call to the nearest Imperial base. But help would not arrive in time. Human ships moved through space faster than anything the Empire had ever seen. Admiral Kate Sullivan coordinated the attack from her flagship, the vessel that had been built in the asteroid belt and hidden from alien sensors for decades. "All units, commence liberation of Nexus 7. Remember the rules of engagement. Military targets only. Protect the civilians." Human ships swept aside the alien defenders with ease. Kinetic weapons punched through alien armor. Gravity weapons crushed enemy vessels. Fighters armed with antimatter charges eliminated alien gun positions on the planet's surface. The battle was over in 30 minutes. The Zephyrian garrison that had controlled Nexus 7 for 50 years was completely destroyed. Not a single human ship was lost. General Paul Anderson watched the liberation from his command ship. He had been planning this campaign for months, studying alien tactics and finding their weaknesses. "The aliens fight like they're still conquering helpless worlds," he observed. "They don't know how to face an enemy that fights back." On the planet's surface, Colonel Brooks led her soldiers into the capital city. The local population, members of a species called the Kilari, came out of their homes to see their liberators. "We are humans from Earth," Brooks announced through a translator device. "Your world is now free. The Zephyrian Empire will never enslave you again." The Calare had forgotten what freedom looked like. For 2 generations, they had lived under alien rule, forced to produce weapons and ships for the Empire. Now, suddenly, they were free. How? Asked Elder Thane, the leader of the Calari resistance movement. "How did you defeat the Empire?" "They have ruled the galaxy for centuries. We showed them that Earth doesn't surrender," Brooks replied. "And now we're showing them that humanity doesn't stop fighting until every slave world is free." Dr. Lisa Garcia worked in a laboratory aboard the human science vessel Discovery. She had spent months studying captured Zephyrian technology, and her team had made remarkable breakthroughs. "We've improved their faster-than-light drives by 30%, she reported to Admiral Sullivan. "Human ships can now travel farther and faster than anything in the alien fleet." "What about their weapons?" Sullivan asked. "Our kinetic weapons are already superior to their energy systems," Garcia replied. "But we've also developed new gravity bombs that can destroy an entire space station with one shot." The human war machine had become more efficient than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships built in Earth's secret facilities were supplemented by vessels constructed in captured alien shipyards. Human engineers took Zephyrian designs and improved them beyond recognition. Captain Jake Phillips led a squadron of human fighters through the Kepler Nebula, hunting alien supply convoys. His ships were painted black and equipped with stealth systems that made them invisible to enemy sensors. "Contact bearing 270, reported his sensor officer. "Alien convoy with military escort." Phillips smiled. "All fighters. Attack formation Delta. Let's show these aliens what Earth pilots can do." The human fighters struck the alien convoy like lightning. Antimatter charges destroyed the escort ships in seconds. The supply vessels, loaded with weapons for the Empire's war effort, were captured intact. "Another convoy eliminated," Phillips reported. "The aliens are running out of supplies to feed their war machine." Emperor Velton sat in his palace on Zephyr Prime, reading reports that filled him with despair. Human forces had liberated over 50 worlds in 6 months. Zephyrian fleets were being destroyed faster than they could be replaced. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked General Mortek. "Over 3,000, my Emperor," the general replied, with shame in his voice. "The humans have destroyed half our fleet. And how many human ships have we destroyed?" "Fewer than 50, sir." The Emperor felt his empire crumbling around him. For 3 centuries, the Zephyrian military had been invincible. Now they were being hunted by a species from a single world. "What do the humans want?" he asked Admiral Creedal. "Complete surrender, sir. They demand the immediate liberation of all conquered worlds and the dismantling of our military forces." "Impossible," the Emperor said. "The Empire has ruled for 1,000 years. We will not surrender to primitives from a backwater world." But even as he spoke, the Emperor knew his words were empty. The humans weren't primitives. They were the most dangerous military force the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Lisa Phillips commanded the human task force that approached Zephyr Prime itself. Her fleet consisted of 500 ships, each one armed with weapons that could level continents. "This is Admiral Phillips to the Zephyrian Empire," she transmitted on all frequencies. "We are humans from Earth. We have come to end your reign of terror. Surrender now, and your people will be allowed to live in peace. Resist, and we will demonstrate why 400 worlds chose freedom over your empire." Emperor Veltan watched the human fleet approach his homeworld. His own fleet, once the terror of the galaxy, cowered behind planetary defense shields that everyone knew wouldn't stop human weapons. "Sir," General Mortek said quietly, "perhaps we should consider their terms." "Never," the Emperor replied. But his voice lacked conviction. Dr. Murphy, who had detected the first alien signals months ago, now worked aboard the human flagship as Earth's chief xenolinguist. She had learned to speak dozens of alien languages from the freed worlds. "Admiral Phillips," she said, "I'm receiving surrender offers from 17 Zephyrian colonies. They're asking for protection from the Imperial fleet." "Granted," Phillips replied. "Any world that surrenders peacefully will be placed under human protection." The Zephyrian Empire was collapsing from within. Conquered worlds were rebelling, knowing that human forces would protect them. Imperial governors were abandoning their posts. The empire that had ruled 400 worlds was falling apart. On Earth, President Harrison addressed the United Nations one final time as a planet-bound leader. "Today, humanity takes its place among the stars," he announced. "We have freed the oppressed, defeated the oppressors, and shown the galaxy that Earth stands for freedom. But our work is not finished. There are other empires out there, other tyrants who believe might makes right. They will learn, as the Zephyrians learned, that humanity will not tolerate oppression anywhere in the galaxy." The president paused, looking out at representatives from dozens of worlds that humans had liberated. "We came from one small planet, but our reach now spans the stars. We are humanity, and we do not surrender, we do not retreat, and we do not compromise with evil. We win." Emperor Veltan's final transmission came as human ships entered orbit around Zephyr Prime. "I surrender," he said simply. The Zephyrian Empire submits to human authority. The empire that had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years ended not with a battle, but with a whimper. Humanity had turned the hunters into the hunted, and shown the galaxy that Earth was not just another world to be conquered. From a single blue planet, humanity had become the galaxy's new guardians of freedom. The age of empires was over. The age of humanity had begun.